Hey guys, Andrew here. Welcome to Only Murders Discussed on this podcast, an Andrew Stedel podcast sideshow where we discuss only murders in the building, a show starring Steve Martin, Martin Short, and Selena Gomez. Come along with the journey and let's discuss the show. I just want to clarify something real quick before we continue. There is no graphic, violent content at all in this video, no visuals, none of that nature. So, just getting that out of the way before you continue on this video. But, come on, let's go. Let's go discuss it.
But whoa. We got a person here. We got another person here. Oh my god. We're back. This time the Andrew Settle podcast special, Only Murders in the Building. Ah yes. The special podcast, not the actual podcast, the special podcast. We are now in episode 2. Oh, I'm sorry. How impolite of me. Welcome. This is our guest here. Henry, how are you doing?
Doing pretty good. I'm curious to know who is Tim Kono. That seems to be
Oh,
the
we made the clip. No.
who is that guy?
You have segued into it. Episode 2, Who is Tim Kono? Yes, who is Tim Kono? We are going to learn today who Tim Kono is, some more things about our characters throughout this episode. So before we continue, if you haven't watched episode 2, please follow along with us. This is your little spoiler warning. We're about to get into a lot of details, a lot of questions that we have, and all that good stuff. But for future reference, we will not spoil the next episode going forward. We will just discuss this episode and episodes from, events from episode 1. Words if I can use them correctly. So we start with Mabel watching Brazos on his show, sketching on her little notebook as well, Tim Kono on her tablet. I'm going to call it that. And we never really know what it's actually called. It's revealed that Charles used a specific line that she didn't know. That's what it was when discussing his mother and his father, specifically the abuse. He used a line for line from the show, and she is not.
He's not
She's not
pleased.
happy about this.
Nope.
And to be fair, it's not cool that she did this. But something came to my mind when I thought about this. I'm sorry. Wait a minute. You're lying about knowing Tim Kono to them. So why are you mad that Charles? I'm sorry. Wait, what? So then my question for you is who is more in the wrong here? Because I thought about this some more when I watched it the second time. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm sorry. You didn't even ask him and you're still mad about this?
Yeah. I mean, technically, she's more wrong because it's one of those things where, like, when people when they're like holding like a secret or they did something like bad, and they're like kind of waiting for someone else to do something bad, so they can be like, "Ah, well, you did this." It's just like, well, I mean, you're both in the dirt now. I mean, and like I think the Tim Kono thing is technically like worse. But I think like she did honestly feel betrayed because she was like, okay, I'm like trying to like get to know these dudes in my building and actually trying to build a connection, and then he just straight up lied to me, and it's like, so I think it's like a little bit more on her end, but I think she still has like some right to be mad. But I think the fact that we talk about it later, she just like kept on throwing shots and didn't say anything to him.
I think it's interesting because in one merit, she is actually right to be upset. But at the same time, she could have, there were plenty of chances for her to ask about that, and she did not take those chances. And Charles, even the whole time, is like, wait,
What?
what I do? Leading me to believe that he would have actually told her. Well, we don't know, but
Mm,
I get the vibe that Charles would have actually told her because but that's later on. We'll get into that a little later on. Now, we don't know much about Tim yet. So, unfortunately, the podcast is it's not going well. You
making
know,
shit
they,
up.
they they're saying shit like he lived in the building. He did this. What the fuck is this shit, man? So, we also learn something interesting about Oliver though during this segment. He doesn't lock his doors, which is very
Yeah.
perplexing. I don't know why he doesn't lock his doors. You would think, that's common sense. lock your door once you get in. But I guess I'm learning when I've talked to people about this. They're like, oh yeah, like back in the day we didn't lock the doors, and I'm like, really? That was a thing? Okay, well, I guess I'm learning things. Because
Yeah.
I even asked my grandma, and she said when she lived in Kansas, didn't lock the doors. So
My family's like that too. Well, during the daytime it's just like that. During the nighttime they do lock, but during the daytime they don't lock the doors. That's the South. For me, it's like lock the doors all the
yeah,
time.
lock the doors. Lock the doors. Let us know in the comments below if you lock your doors. Comment right now if you lock your doors. And we also learn from Mabel that she has checked all of Tim Kono's websites. Specifically, I think it's adorable that they want to know all the websites. That's all it is that Tim was on. Just websites. Not what they are. It's a cheap way to not actually name whatever the social media platform is. But I will admit it's a funny little gag, like all the websites.
I know.
Just so we know what age group they're in. They're over here, Mabel's over here. Like, yes, I checked all the websites.
The entirety of the internet.
So the group wants to figure out who Tim Kono is, but yeah, they don't really know who he is, do they? They're trying to figure out. They're like, yeah, all these great podcasts. We know about this guy. Nobody fucking knew this. So then we asked the big question: who did it, and was their motivation? I think we can agree we don't really know at this point quite yet who it was,
No,
or we don't know that. We don't know that. We can't even. There's nothing to really base off of it
no.
at this point. No.
I think there's only one guess that they like really put out there is that they think that the murderer is in the building. Like the murderer like happened to be in the building at the time for like few hours. They said that no one entered the building before it happened. That was like the main clue that they mentioned.
Other than maybe the hint of tie-dye guy.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that guy.
That's the only thing that we get. Like, Charles kind of looks back in the first episode. We see him looking at the tie-dye guy like, I wonder what that is. That's more of like in the background, but yeah. So we get some backstory about Mabel and Tim. They are arguing with somebody that was a new character named Oscar. We don't know much yet. We just know that they're arguing about that. We don't really get any kind of physical information quite yet, but we get this periodically throughout the rest of the episode. She gets mad at Tim because he knows what happened with the events of Oscar. What that is, again, refer to my other statement, we don't quite know yet. This implies that Oscar is innocent for something. What is it? We don't know. Tim won't speak up. Maybe this is some kind of motivation for why Tim was murdered. This could possibly be it. That's what I think the show was hinting at. What did Oscar do? Don't know yet. Why didn't Tim speak up? We don't know. Also, Tim is a dick.
Yeah, I mean that's obvious. that we know we know that's part of who Tim Kono is he's an asshole. It's number one on the list right now.
But yes, we all know Tim is a dick. So then we get to the next scene, which is them going to his memorial, it is dark but funny at the same time. It is the weirdest thing ever. There's so many good moments in this part. Well, first of all, we learned that Oliver apparently just doesn't eat food. He just eats like dips with like, I guess, carrots, I guess.
Yeah.
Which
Lost
is
14
weird.
pounds though.
It's like, oh, I don't have any hair, but I lost 14 pounds. That's not healthy, but that's kind of a funny joke. I'll admit it. And then we get into the suspects of this episode. We learn that Tim obviously didn't have any friends at this time. We know he didn't have any friends. Uh, Everybody seems to have a complaint, even when the landlord, I'm going to guess, is what I don't think they call her that, Bunny, but she is. We'll call her the landlord of the episode. She's asking, "Hey, does anybody have anything nice to say?" Everybody just comes out of the woodworks and goes, "Nah, fuck Tim," basically. Nobody has anything nice to say. We get some complaints about fireplaces. We get
I
some
know.
complaints about
He ruined my Christmas because I couldn't use my fireplace.
everybody's just roasting Tim over here. And I thought during this segment, I'm like, Jesus Christ, y'all people are assholes. It's not even a nice thing to say. I mean, I
know.
guess it's New York, but
But he was murdered too. That was the worst thing. It wasn't like he just died of a sickness or something. He was murdered. It's like
and they're all just like, I want this personal shit. Fuck him. Day one. We want our fireplaces back. Oh my god, I feel so bad for laughing because it's like, geez, he just got murdered, but these jokes are pretty funny. Actually, I'm not gonna lie. Oh man, but we also finally get an interesting little character that's a revolving character. We get a therapist who takes Vimeo, which is like, I get it. You need to get paid for your services, but like, why are you throwing that in there like that? I have to get, you know, paid. But please tell me, Tim. If you knew Tim, which clearly nobody actually knew Tim, but it's nice that he offers mental health, facilities in the building. Which, first of all, on the other hand, man, I wish somebody offered that everywhere. Just walk up, hey, I'm a therapist, like a licensed therapist. If you just want to sit down and like not tell anybody, it's like, oh, that'd be cool. Fortunately, that's not quite how the world works, but apparently in this show it does.
yeah.
We also, I think her name is Miss Adok. I'm probably mispronouncing that incorrectly, but she wanted the extra rooms, and there's all these complaints and yada yada yada. And then we get to my favorite, the man who's crying. I
This
had, I
guy.
had to watch this with subtitles because he is really actually talking. And he
Yeah.
says, Evelyn, my cat Evelyn died. And Oliver, like a jerk, goes, listen, okay, that's good, but I'm gonna need you to say it again because I can't understand a word you're saying. My cat Evelyn died. This is my favorite because everybody pulls around. Oh no, Evelyn. I just can't with that. My cat Evelyn, she died. Which is a whole nother thing that comes up later that's like, oh my God, Jesus Christ. But out of these people, I don't have anybody that I would say is a suspect specifically. But did you have anybody that you would say out of any of these people that could be a suspect?
No, not really. I mean, there's just too many people. Um, Especially when you see like the outside of the building, the amount of people that was in that lobby was actually pretty small compared to like when you see the exterior of the building. You see how many rooms and windows there are. It's like there's got to be at least 100 people to 300 people living in that building. Um, and it's just like there's no way that we could like really know. It's just really just setting up, you know, the different types of people who live in this building and possible reasons why people hate them. So like right now, I just don't know. Like, I have no
Yeah,
clue.
because at this point we don't know. We're basically just setting up characters that the show is trying to like trick you, like, oh, maybe these are suspects, stuff like that. And then we get into the very interesting aspect that is a revolving thing of the episode is flashback sequences, which I thought these were very well done. Mabel has a flashback to seeing Tim's dead body. This is a shorter flashback segment, though. It's like, she's just having PTSD of seeing that. First of all, this is implying that maybe she knew him like better in the past that we don't quite know yet. She starts recording herself talking about Tim Kono, specifically stuff that she's not sharing with the group quite yet. Little pieces here and there. She starts drawing Tim a little bit. We learn that she knew him since she was 10. They met when she was 10 at the exact place, the Corneo or Corneo. I'm probably going to say it wrong. I'm just going to flash it on the screen how you're actually supposed to say it. There you go. I'll say it right next time, damn it. Fuck it, we'll do it live. What we learned about Tim is, yeah, he's kind of a jerk, but he's direct. At this point in time when he was in his youth, yeah, yeah, he's kind of a little bit of could be perceived as a jerk, but he's honest. That's what we learn. We learn that he doesn't lie. He's honest, and that's part of the reason that Mabel likes him because you know he doesn't lie to her basically, and
Mhm.
that's an interesting little thing that we learn here. We also learn of the Hardy Boys, which is two boys, two girls, as we got in the first episode. We learn of that Mabel didn't really live. She lived, I think it is specifically
Long Island. She
Long
lived on
Island.
Long
I was about to say Staten Island, wrong movie, wrong show.
Island.
But yeah, she would come visit her aunt and, hang out with their friends in in your youth. Specifically at this point, it's only just Tim. And then we get into Oscar and Zoe. This is an interesting little character arc that we get here. We learn that basically, I think it's Oscar. It's one of them. Just does some cool stuff there. But I'm getting a little ahead of myself on that one. No, I'm not. So Oscar has access to the keys of the apartment because when his dad leaves, he
Yeah,
steals the keys.
his dad's either the super or like the maintenance man that he can get into all the apartments.
We basically learn that he's doing some like sneaky ass shit, grabbing the keys around the like belt. That's what it's implied, the way it's said. Sneaking
Hmm.
around, opening doors. They basically go on their own little Hardy Boys adventures, and it at first it's a little like it's childish. They're just doing some like cool shit. Just like
Hmm.
reenacting the books, and then it turns into they kind of steal shit.
Yeah, it turns into the bling ring.
And I like it the way Mabel words it. It's like, oh, Zoe was kind of adventurous. She
Kind
made
of.
you guys steal shit. I'm
She
sorry.
was
Wait, what?
just
What?
thinking shit. Like,
But yes, we learned it was fun. I'm not saying that can't be fun on an adventure, but it was fun until the end. But what is the end? Well, we don't know. We don't know yet, so we'll keep moving on. But Oliver attempts to, you know, before that, Oliver has a conversation with Charles, like, I wonder where I can get some information on Tim Coner. Ursula, the building woman. If we can go to talk to her and we can get some more information on Tim Kono. And Charles reveals that he sends her signed photographs. And Oliver's like, you're supposed to tip. And he's like, tipping is not that's a construct. We don't do that. And I believe in tipping, so fuck Charles for that.
yeah, for real. Like, it's like, what?
It's like, yeah, as much as Oliver isn't dead, he's like, yes. That's such a sweet little thing that Oliver does. He's like, yeah, I care about people. I tip. I'm like, gosh, Oliver, you're like struggling to pay your rent, but like,
He still
I can still
tips.
tip people. Damn,
Yeah.
that's crazy. But yes, we learn that. Well, Oliver learns from Ursula. There was stacks of complaints in the folder.
Was there?
Opens up the folder. Yeah, I can't even start. There was a lot of complaints, and it's going fine. Oliver's like, trying to ease his way to get that information. Charles bumps in like, hey, and it's like, nah, fuck you.
Yeah, man. It's like, oh,
not gonna give you that information there. But Ursula then, kind of like tells him, hey, I got this gut milk, which I'm not really sure what this is. Is this like a joke on protein milk? I don't really know what
I,
the joke was on that one.
I think it is like a joke on like those type of like health shakes stuff, like the MLM things, whatever the I can't remember what the famous one is called. It's probably good that I don't know because they'll come after me if I say.
I can't even think of what the hell it is. Gosh, what the hell? I don't even remember. I used to drink it, but I can't even remember what the hell the name of it is. But basically, she's like, hey, you get this stuff, and then I'll even give you some information that's not even on the paper. And they're like, oh shit. Turn to page 2. Yes. So the group breaks in to Tim's apartment because, as Ursula tells them in the previous scene, and they're gonna they're gonna get rid of all that shit in the apartment. They got to clear it out for somebody else. Somebody else has got to move in, which is like, is that really how that works? Did somebody just die and they say, I guess it's more implied though that, they're just cleaning it out, which is fair if that's how they do it.
I guess it depends on the investigation. If it's a suicide, they're probably not gonna to really hold on to the apartment to investigate it. So I can see them cleaning it out pretty quickly. Because it's like, hey, time is money. Like, gotta get this stuff out.
Yeah, they basically go like, I completely almost forgot. Yeah, they rolled a suicide, so they're like, all right, time to go.
Yep.
Get out of here.
Shove it
Clean
all
all
out the
y'all up.
windows.
So the group's like, all right, let's go break in and go investigate, which they just so nonchalantly go like, yep, we're gonna go do this. We're totally gonna go break a law, but I guess we've already invested that they're gonna.
There's a lot of casual just breaking and entering. It's just like
They're just casually breaking laws to try and fix the law, and it's like, if this was any other show but a comedy, y'all would be getting a lot like jail time for this, but it's all good. It's Steve Martin and Martin Short. They'll be good. They'll be fine. They'll be all right. So they find blood in the apartment, and well, yeah, they find blood in the apartment. But Mabel starts to, she kind of like she's snooping around more than like Charles and them are.
yeah.
She's like looking at the books, like, huh, damn, he was really into Hardy Boy still, huh. You kind of get some nonchalant, her going like, huh, and they're like, something wrong? No, no. She's just withholding information again.
Acting really
It's a good
sus.
tone. Does it again. No, no. But we find out that poor old Tim, old buddy boy, he was behind in his bills, and we get this interesting piece of dialogue between Oliver and Charles. Man, Oliver, I hate people that don't pay their bills. Just more information withholding. Guys, yeah, it's okay. He was behind his bills. But yeah,
Charles doesn't tip, so it's like
it's like
we're even.
we find out that Charles doesn't tip, so it's like, yeah, it's even.
Yeah.
But we find that we see that Oliver finds sex toys. Sex toys.
He was so excited too. He was like, "Look what I found!" Woo!
He was really excited. I wonder, like, damn, what don't we know about Oliver? Like, does he want to does he get freaky? Does he want to? Like, this information we're not being told here because he was damn excited. He came out with that shit. Woo, it's a whip. Look at this. But I noticed if you look at it closely, it's so clearly not a whip. Oliver clearly doesn't know what he's talking about. It looks like a cleaning utensil if you look at it closely. It's most certainly not a whip. I wouldn't call it a whip. Because the one thing I noticed on it not being a whip is already off the bat, it's kind of fluffy and there's no flat surface to it. So that also leads me to believe Oliver,
this is not a
you
whip.
know what a whip looks like.
Yeah.
It's not a whip. And if you look closely at Mabel, she's like, huh. I don't know about that one.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. But even Charles is fooled. He's like, huh, did you put that away?
Stop waving that thing around.
But Mabel has a flashback to New Year's Eve. Yes, which I'm gonna assume that's what it is. That's basically what it is. That's what we get going on, And her Hardy Boys are taking the picture, and what's this? It's the picture from the first episode at the end. Yeah, little details like that. They put in there. They sneak them in there. I see you there, show. I see you. But then we see Oscar and Zoe, we don't necessarily see it. We hear it. Well, we see it for a split second. She's like, "That's textbook cheating," which I'm like, "Huh? I don't. Yeah. Huh? Hmm. That's all I'm going to say on that. As far as that, they go into another room, and we don't know.
Yeah, you
We
hear
don't know what happened. All we know is that Tim comes out. Somebody was fighting with Zoe, and it wasn't Oscar.
yeah, you do hear it scream. You do hear like a
Here's
faint
that.
scream. Yeah, and that's pretty much it.
We don't know what happened. At that point, we don't know. But Charles and Oliver, they find something interesting in the house. They found something interesting in this apartment building. Footprints. I wonder whose footprints those could be. What in the world is that? Could it be a kitty cat named Evelyn?
God damn it, Evelyn.
But as far as we know, he was broke. He liked dangerous sex. He was asthmatic,
He was an asshole.
and nobody liked him.
Yeah, no one liked him. He ruined Christmas.
But yeah, the Charles and Arvel are Arvel. Oh my god, I almost went back to Clifford there. I know Mr. Martin Short was on that show. Charles and Arvel. Why did I say it again? Charles and Oliver basically then have a little quick conversation. Man, he was a dick. So how can we like make him likable? Mabel like kind of cuts in out of nowhere. She's like, just because he was a dick doesn't mean he wasn't human. And I'm like, I'm sorry. Now you choose to speak up.
Yeah, very convenient of you. Hmm.
What in the world is wrong with you? But specifically, she's like, ah, yes, he didn't need to die. And I'm like, huh, you make a fair point,
Hmm.
but also, why are you speaking up right now?
Yeah,
And where is this from?
you were shit talking him all day.
But basically, then she makes a decent point. Well, he was alone. Doesn't that mean we shouldn't care about him enough? Which that fair point. That's a fair point. Being
Mm.
alone kind of sucks. That's a fair point. That one I can agree with. There's no disagreement on that one for me. Mabel confronts Charles on falsely opening up about the abuse that her mother got from her father, which Charles immediately is like, what are you talking about? Like, that was real. Which to me, I thought it was real, but did you think it was real? Did you think he was being genuine? Because I did.
Um, so with the apology, or if it's like, him trying to explain it, I do think that maybe not verbatim, but I do think like there was probably like a dose of reality. Because, when people write, those type of things, they might take some of their personal experience and, put it, some of it on the screen or in terms of in the script. So I could understand um, it being like a big dose of truth in terms of his father probably treating his mother like shit, and so I do kind of believe him, even if it's like not 100%, but um,
Right.
yeah, I think it was shitty to like verbatim repeat the thing, but
Right. I do think it was kind of shitty of him to do that, although there is a kind of a middle ground of, Mabel's lying about something else. So the fact that she's feeling
yeah,
so strongly about this, to me, the whole episode, it's a revolving thing of her getting mad at him, without telling him, like, oh, is there anything else you want to tell me? That I kind of think the way she's holding a grudge is like, well, your anger to some degree is well meant.
yeah,
He did lie to you. You should just ask him, and then it kind of led up to that. Like, okay, I'm finally getting mad at you. Why? What the fuck's wrong?
oh yeah,
Why are you doing this? But yeah, as far as him, like, I don't think he's 100% genuine, but I do think for sure he like obviously he could have exaggerated, what happened. That's typically what actors do. I do think that he was being serious, like, he could have like lied and said, oh, no, nah,
yeah,
I'm fucker. But it does seem like, he did seem to like actually care a little bit. He was like, oh well, I'm sorry. I guess I got caught here. What the fuck? And
yeah,
Oliver the whole time is just like, did I miss something?
yeah. Yeah, and Mabel's definitely deflecting, and that's the thing. She's kind of deflecting from her own lie. She's just like, well, let me make sure that Charles is the one who's lying, and focus more attention on him and away from me, because eventually she knows that eventually they're gonna find out about her previous relationship with Tim Kono. It would have to come up eventually. They keep digging, so I think that's kind of why she's trying to like push them away from that. But obviously, it's not gonna work.
Yeah, it seems like she is deflecting for sure because she's angry. Like, as far as they know, like she's just mad. They
Mm-hmm.
they don't they don't know quite yet. Unfortunately, they're like, oh, you know. But Mabel confronts Tim, and we're gonna call him imagination. We're gonna say she's imagining this. Oh no, a little ahead of myself on that one. But Mabel confronts Tim in a flashback about
Mm-hmm.
Oscar, Zoe, and the situation on the roof. She claims she claims Tim saw something about the events that could help Oscar. What happened on the roof? What does Tim know? We don't know this answer quite yet, but this is something that they're trying to lead up to and going forward. But then Mabel hallucinates Tim and starts questioning Tim. We're gonna like assume it's a hallucination, not a ghost, because it's not that kind of show. This isn't CSI. Gonna pull some ghost shit, but I'm assuming they're kind of parroting that a little bit, just slightly, just a little bit, just a little bit. Um, aren't you a little? Tim says, "Aren't you a little old to be playing Hardy Boys?" And she's like, doesn't really answer the question the first time.
Yeah.
She's deflecting again. But then Tim kind of presses like, "Why are you hanging out with a couple old weirdos?" But she gets a little defensive about that. She's like, they're trying to help me, like, figure out, why nobody cares about you and
Mm-hmm.
killed you. Like, what
Exactly.
the fuck? But yeah, she asks Tim some questions about some things, and obviously, because it's a hallucination, Tim's not going to give her the answers. Unfortunately, she asks him about the ring. She asks him simple questions, and Tim kind of in her own this does make it assume that it's her because he's kind of deflecting back with her
Yeah.
in this scene because then he's like, oh, did you wonder if anybody loved me? And she doesn't really answer the question necessarily specifically. It's more like kind of deflection answer. But yeah, then she basically like ends it all like, I don't even know if you're good or bad. Like, should I even care that you died? These are all like great questions. Like,
Mm.
is he? We don't know. But that's a good question that they ask. They want the audience to ask going forward in the next episodes. So Mabel then goes through the books and we find Tim's been collecting quite a bit of jewelry than just one ring. So we're going to end that theory of, that being for marriage.
It's like shit. This is like raining jewelry. It's like,
It's just like fucking everywhere. Like, okay, well, there's rings, there's everything. Holy shit, Tim, what the hell? Like, then that leads to the question of, wait, where was he getting all this money if he was behind in bills? But no, I'm
mm,
not going to think
mm,
too hard. Nope,
yeah.
nope,
It's like where's he?
nope.
Where's he getting this from?
That's kind of an inconsistency. Like, wait, so wait a minute. I get he's behind in his bills, but like, where did he get the money in the first place?
Yeah. It's like are these things fake? Like like what's going on? Is he stealing these things? Like it's like where do you get all this stuff from?
And then we get into a little neat little detail though. Abel finds a drawing that she gave to him when they were children. That's just a neat little detail that they throw in there. So then Mabel goes back to, kind of sitting in front of the camera, recording herself. And she basically then goes to whoever is listening that Tim liked running around. Tim, he liked running around the fountain. He was observant and robotic. And he kind of looked at you. He was kind if he looked at you in the right way. I don't know why I said kind. Basically, we get some small information from Mabel that, again, she's not sharing with the group.
Nope.
But she's I guess she's basically doing a diary. I guess is what we would say, a video diary. It's never really said out loud what she's technically doing yet, but I'm gonna call it that. We're gonna call it a video diary. That's what she's basically doing, documenting everything that she wants to share just in case something happens. But then we get into basically the ending of the episode. We are now told about the one time that Tim lied. Zoe is
Yeah.
dead on the ground. It's to be believed that Tim lied and told the cops that Oscar did it. So we get into what happened early on in the episode. But Mabel is saying that Oscar is innocent. She believes him. And then Mabel asks, "Who is Tim?" Well, she's about to fucking find because she even herself doesn't know who Tim Kono is. No, she
She
does not.
knows she knows pieces of him, but not him as a total person.
As we're finding out, we don't really know who Tim Kono is. We kind of know who he is.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the final thoughts are so we basically oddly don't find out too much other than well Tim was broke, you know. We find out he wasn't getting just one piece of jewelry, he was getting multiple. This is kind of a you know, episode that's kind of giving us dialogue about story arcs, and you know, we don't really learn too much in the case in this episode. This is more of a, I guess, a padding episode, I would say, even though it's about the same length as the first one.
Yeah, it's just setting everything up, setting stuff up.
Even though one of the later episodes is about 26 minutes, I think there's only one.
Yeah, there are a few episodes that are like very uneven. I think there's an hour-long episode in here somewhere.
It's almost about. But yeah, do you have any final thoughts there that you'd like to share?
I did thought it was interesting that Mabel labeled her video, if I was, if I'm next, if she believes that okay, I might get murdered or something. And I was just like, why did she think that she might get murdered? Like, yeah, someone, got, murdered in the building, and it's like, okay, it was Tim, but it's like what connection do you have to Tim makes you think that you would be next? And you
The
would have
only
to.
thing the only thing I can think about on that is maybe she thinks that somebody that she previously robbed somehow figured out. That's the
Mm,
only thing that leads me to believe thinking that. But there's nothing really to indicate it, or maybe it's somebody. Maybe she thinks that somebody killed Zoe that night, and that was
mm,
after her. Not, I'm just taking a guess here at this point. We don't really
yeah,
know that.
yeah. Because I mean, obviously, it's been told that even though he's kind of an asshole, Tim seems to be someone who's generally pretty honest to a fault sometimes because he comes across as a dick. So you have that one night where he decides to not tell the truth at all, and it's like he was scared. So it's like, okay, something went down. He saw something where he's like, I can't tell the truth for whatever reason in terms of either his life or anyone he cares about. So um, yeah, I mean that made me that whole part where she labeled that video, it kind of made me think about all that. And there's a bigger conspiracy going on.
Yeah, no, I there wasn't much that I learned. There's like little bits and pieces of things where I'm like, oh, that's cool that they're referencing that from that and that and that. But yeah, this is mainly just, you know, kind of just establishing. This is an establishing episode where we get to learn a little bit more, but not really. But we do, but not, but do, but
Mhm.
not do. It's that little cat and mouse game of, well, we're gonna give you this, but not that, but this. It basically is like kind of comedy hour for Steve Martin and Martin Short this episode because
Yeah.
we don't really learn anything about them this episode. The last episode we got like a bunch of information about Oliver and Charles, but
Mhm.
this one it's like it's almost as if they said, let's learn about Mabel,
Yeah, more about
not
Mabel
really
and Tim.
these two guys.
Yeah.
That's how it felt for me. Not that I had any problem with that, but this episode is definitely more centered around her and less about those two guys. They seem like they were kind of pushed to the side just to be
Yeah.
there. Cause like, yeah, I can't really think of there's like nothing other than we learn like bits and pieces like, oh, Oliver is self-conscious about being behind his bills, and Oliver judges Charles for not tipping. Just little things like that. And
Yeah.
Oliver apparently doesn't eat food, which is like,
And Oliver will go to any lengths to get people to record people for his podcast. When he asked the guy with the cat, like, I want you to be on the on the podcast or whatever. Like, if you consent to recording, just say anything. And the guy was like, "What?" And he's like, "Okay, you consent." And it's like,
well, what's very interesting about
that's how
that
it
is I
works.
double checked on that part. He does say no. He does actually say it really quietly while he's sniffling. He says, "No, I don't want to do that." But he's Oliver just keeps recording him anyways because he's like, "You consented." So that leads me to believe that Oliver's gonna like edit that out. But like
Yeah.
he doesn't stop at any point while recording, even though he kind of acts like he's like, listen. Because if you look closely at the phone, he's still recording.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He doesn't care. He's like, I'm gonna
There's so
record
many
too.
plot holes in this stuff. Like, wait, hold on. How did they edit this? And
Yeah.
like, wait, where did they get those mics? And how does Oliver know to record in like that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
record in the closet. Where it's like, that was actually a really good idea, but it was like, how did you know? How did you know that?
which
Well, I
like
mean,
how does he have that closet that's like 360 degrees? It's like looking like he's in a mansion or something.
mm,
You go in there, there's a bunch of coats and shit, and I'm like, God damn, dude, you spent a lot of money on this, didn't you?
yeah, he spends a lot of money on these coats, especially since it's like you're broke and it's like you have all these really nice coats and your this apartment's really furnished. It's like you're not gonna sell any of this stuff. If you want to stay here, you're gonna move. You don't want to move. It's like you got no
Yeah, 'cause
job. It's like, what are you
it's
doing?
established that Oliver doesn't want to leave, and I'm like, like there's plenty of apartments that you could just go to are affordable, right? But no, Oliver's like, no, I'm gonna stay. So yeah, I think we established everything going on. I don't think there's anything we missed. This is pretty cut and dry episode. There's not too much to miss, not too much, just some little small things that I mentioned that we're all good. And then yeah, I think we're done here. Is
Yeah,
there anywhere anybody can find you? Are you just gonna be
I'm floating around in the ether of the internet with tie
with
dye guy.
with tie dye guy? Will we learn more about him next week? Well, you'll have to come back to find out. And you'll find me just sitting here, Andrew Stuttle on the Andrew Stuttle podcast. Just chilling here. Maybe Seb will be back. Oh yeah, we forgot to mention that Seb wasn't here this time. Nope,
Yeah,
he's off going to search for the murderer for himself.
yeah.
He went on to say he has his map with him.
Maybe he's tie dye guy.
Oh no, maybe he is. Maybe he's hiding something. We'll never know.
You never know.
But you won't catch me hiding on my Steadily Mac page on Facebook. You can like my Facebook page, the Interstellar Podcast, and of course, as I announced last week, soon me and my friend Alvaro will be doing a podcast. You'll learn more about that next week. Learn more about that once we start recording. And that's all, folks. Hopefully, I see you next week, and we'll be here discussing only murders on this podcast.